I wanted to talk about the vaccines because I know I'd heard some rumblings about some popular people possibly taking the vaccine to sort of legitimize it. Will you speak on that for the people?
Yeah, so as y'all know, or maybe you don't know, there has been a lot of push for this vaccine to come out very quickly. But I think to me it seems very safe. I've listened to Dr. Fauci talk about it, but what we know is that like vaccines often take a while to come out. And even though there was a lot of money put into it, a lot of research put into it, there's still a lot of disbelief, especially within our communities, right? Black and brown communities have a true mistrust of the government. And I think that that's fair. Um, but I think that so what the government is trying to do is they're having Obama, George Bush, and Bill Clinton go on, I believe, national TV and take the vaccine to raise like public opinion and public support behind the vaccine. So I think that that might work for some people, and though some people don't look like us, and I think it's a step maybe in the right direction, but it does nothing for me. Even though from my research and what I've looked into, like I think that this vaccine can be effective. Um, vaccine giving Obama and George Bush and Bill Clinton the vaccine will not do anything for Black communities. There's already a distrust in the Black community and health officials in general, but the government in like specific. So it's like this is not doing anything for us, but we are the community that's being affected the most by COVID. And I think that like there has to be, if we're willing, if we're hoping to get people to understand what this vaccine is doing, and like if we want Black people to really like buy into it, there has to be other methods of going about that.
Right, right, absolutely, absolutely. And and we've talked about this before, but it's sort of like, when Trump got sick, he seemed to get his treatment very quickly and be seemingly cured very quickly, and it'll make someone at home wonder, well, if he can get that treatment so fast and be well so quickly, then why are we in a pandemic in the first place, right? And so there's this idea that like, his whiteness, his class status, and all sorts of other things allow him access to a real vaccine or to some other types of treatments and measures. And so it's very reasonable for people to be like, well, all those presidents are presidents. They're rich, they're powerful. Like there's no way that what they're getting is what I would end up getting, little old me, right? But what I will say is that I think that Black people, it's an interesting scenario because we can either go down saying we didn't try and didn't take the expert of not only Dr. Fauci, but like plenty of other Black doctors. I've been talking to my Black med school friends about it, and they're like, vaccine, like we're seeing that, like we understand what's going on, and I think that it goes back to the pride thing. It
Hmm.
goes back to the pride thing once again because it's like, look, yes, there's we've been tested on in very vicious ways, very immoral, unethical ways. And I do understand that, and we do want to have sensitivities towards that. But it goes back once again to, all right, I'm little old me. I've never attended med school. I've never been a doctor doing research trials. I have no idea. And guess what? Regardless of whether you take the vaccine or not, Black people and other marginalized folks are still going to be the ones suffering the most, right? And so we're sort of damned if we do, damned if we don't. But for me, understanding that Black people are so resilient and that we will fight to the very end and use every power and tool in our belt. This vaccine is a tool that we need to try, y'all.
Hmm.
I've had some close family members be impacted by it recently, and it continues to hit home more and more and more. I had a death in my family a few months ago from it, and it's just one of those things where, if you don't, you might not trust the government, but there are so many Black doctors who care about Black people and Black lives who are supporting this thing, right? And it's one of those things where it's like you have to trust we trust mechanics with our cars. You know what I'm saying? We trust I could tell y'all what's in your food, even FDA approved stuff. I could really ruin some people's appetites if I told you what was actually in that food that you trust.
Mm,
We trust the weed that some of us smoke. You know what I'm saying? And we trust the drinks at a turn up. You know
mm,
what I'm saying? So I understand that vaccines can have a crazy effect, but like you put trust, we put trust in so many other things that can also potentially be harmful. And y'all, this is our shot. This is our shot. We don't want to wait. Shout out to Alexander Hamilton. We don't want to waste our shot,
yes.
right? Like we are resilient. We are used to being down and out, but we're also used to fighting back and using anything and everything that's at our disposal to progress. And what me and Tisha are saying is that, you have the right, and Tisha, I'll let you get into this, but like we have the right to decline. We have the right to say no to this vaccine if we don't want it. But if all these experts, black, white, Latinx, native, Asian, like if all these people are saying, yes, try it, we're going to have presidents try it on national television, y'all at least consider it. At least consider it. And that's what I have to say about that. I think that you trust a lot of other things. Try this vaccine.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that like I really appreciate you saying that. Like there are so many things that we trust that we probably shouldn't even trust as much. But like I need y'all to know too, like I think a lot of people are like, oh, because I was in a barbershop, the dude was like, oh, I ain't gonna get the vaccine because I ain't trying to be on like no I am legend stuff. But like my thing is like if we understand this is a capitalist country, there is no benefit for American business owners to be putting one their workers out of commission and two, because like if they just kill people, they have no customers. Like,
Right.
like so you got to understand that like the vaccine, like there are going to be a lot of white people that line up and get this vaccine. They have no intention on just killing white people because this is how they're making their money. This is how businesses run. If we kill all these people with this vaccine, then like America is no more. No one has a vested interest in that, right? At least nobody in the United States does. So I think we also have to think about it like that. So but there is a vested interest in Black people perishing by something else. We've succumbed to so many different things, and I think that like the medical like this medical atrocity it can be one of those things because I think we have the largest distrust Black and brown people, and it's like they already want to kill us. So like why would this not be another thing? So there was a like an anti-vaccination thing going around social media that I just wanted to point out real quick. It was talking about how to legally refuse a vaccine, but again, this is misinformation that's being spread. If you don't want to get the vaccine, you can simply say no, you don't want the vaccine. You would have to deal with the repercussions with that, with your job or with your schooling, your school district or your university, or other things that require you to have this vaccine. But the medical officials cannot make you take anything that you don't want. You can simply say no, thank you. And I think that that's an important thing to point out. This thing that was going around, a lot of people were spreading it. And again, it was only Black people that I saw spreading it. And a lot of it was saying like, oh, if you deny the vaccine, then you're seen as belligerent. These different things, and it was a lot of misinformation. It was saying that like fetal cells and all these other things go into the vaccine, and it's MCMR or some other things. And it's like if you did a little research around it, you would find out that a lot of the claims that they made were generalized and untrue. So I just want to push you, our listeners, to look into the vaccine themselves. Look into the different things that people are saying, and I think there's like three different vaccines that can be taken. Look into the side effects. Look into the death rates of the vaccine later, if you want to choose to take it later, or look into the death rates of the COVID-19 right now. Right, I think that like, and you will see that there's a large discrepancy. So there is a there's a benefit of us really taking this serious. I can't tell you to take it or not to take it. I would hope that you take it, but I want y'all to know that like it's it's valid that you have a mistrust of like the government and the mistrust of like medical. But I think that there is a benefit in us like being able to overcome this, and I think that this is one way we can do so. But I get it. Like Obama and Bill Clinton and them taking it on TV won't help. I think it won't help. It takes us being able to have these conversations in our community, people that we personally know taking these vaccines and being okay. Because it's like Obama and them can get a placebo and we would never know. So like if Obama showed up to like the place that I was going and they swapped all the needles around and gave him one, then I would believe that. But they're not willing to do that. So I think that what they're doing is a publicity thing, but there's things that we can do on the ground, like we do with everything else that's very grassroots that will help Black people.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, and I love that point that you made just about just capitalism in and of itself, right? Like no one's invested in you dying or crazy side effects from this vaccine because it's going to impact your health, which is going to impact how you can contribute financially and professionally to the society and keep the economy moving. And so, just take those things into consideration and see, show, like you said before, it's a community on the ground conversation. And so y'all, that's our PSA. We're gonna leave it at that. But y'all, like we said, we're not gonna shame you for not doing it, but we would encourage you and really, really hope that you would take this seriously because if I think as a Black person, you have to take your life seriously, especially when there's a pandemic going on. Our stuff is already more at risk, off jump. Even if the world was quote unquote perfect and there was no pandemic, our stuff is still more at risk. So we got to be on the front lines for solutions as well. So yeah, that's what we got for you in terms of that PSA. But